Hi guys, Eman here of GadgetPilipinas.net, and today we are taking a look at the RTX 2070 Super by GALAX, specifically the Work the Frames edition. NVIDIA's RTX Super graphics cards promise a modest improvement in performance than their non-super counterparts, supposedly for the same price. The RTX 2070 Super in particular should be available to deliver a great experience in 1080p and 1440p, and should even be able to do a bit of 4K gaming as well. Today, we're taking a look at the GALAX RTX 2070 Super Work the Frames Edition, their own take on NVIDIA's design, showcasing a triple fan cooling system which supposedly runs with only minimal noise, a non-reference PCB design that offers better stability, and customizable RGB lighting for a healthy mix of performance and bling. Just to refresh your memory, NVIDIA's RTX cards are built on the new Turing architecture, which adds real-time ray tracing and tensor cores for AI computing to the equation, allowing for an unprecedented level of detail and effects. In games, it simply means stunning graphics. Here's a chart to show the differences for the super and non-super variants. Notice that for the same TDP, the RTX 2070 has higher clock speeds, more ray tracing and tensor cores, and uses the same architecture as the more pricey RTX 2080 and RTX 2080 Super. Starting with the design, the PCB is enclosed in a black shroud and a backplate that resembles, well, a galaxy. Mind you, that also lights up. The entire cooling system consists of 3 U11 winged fans and 6 heat pipes that run across the card, which also means it's quite thick. Branding wise, you get 2 GALAX logos, one up front and one on the side, which is also part of the RGB lighting system. For output, you get 3 display ports and a single HDMI port. Note that the card requires a 3-pin and a 4-pin connector to run. As for software, you can control the RGB lighting effects and do some overclocking using GALAX's Extreme Tuner application. The card has 3 lighting zones that you can customize. Choose from a ton of effects, which are listed as icons. Personally, I'd rather have a simple drop-down list, but that's that. You'll also be able to control the speed of the effect, along with the brightness, and in case you're not a fan of RGB, you can completely turn it off. Moving on to performance, we'll start off with some 3D Mark tests and move on to actual gaming benchmarks across a number of titles. We'll be testing each game in 1080p and 1440p at the highest settings. We'll also be measuring the maximum temperature that the GPU peaks at during the entire test. The GALAX RTX 2070 Super showcases its muscles by outpacing the non-super variant and scoring as close as it gets to the Strix RTX 2080 OC in both tests. Let's move to gaming tests, starting with PUBG. At both 1080p and 1440p, the card performed quite well, showcasing an average FPS of above 100 even at the highest preset. Despite the seemingly wide gap between the 3 metrics, the in-game experience was buttery smooth throughout the test. Next up is Project Cars, which really proved to be demanding even in 1080p, more so in 1440p. With everything cranked up to the highest setting, the card manages to deliver a great experience in 1080p with an average FPS of 75, and a less than stellar but more than decent in 1440p. The results show a tighter gap in all metrics, resulting to generally smooth gameplay. As I couldn't get Fraps to work on Shadow of the Tomb Raider, I resorted to using the in-game benchmark tool, and just show min-max and average FPS. At 1080p with ray tracing and DLSS off, the card was able to output very high frame rates, with the average just shy of 100 FPS. With RTX DLSS on, FPS evidently takes a hit, especially in 1440p. While you do get significantly enhanced visuals, you'll have to dial the ray traced shadow quality setting to medium or completely turn it off if you want above 60 FPS average. A game that has aged, but is still one of the most beautiful looking to date, The Witcher 3 was well handled even at Ultra preset. There's quite a gap between the 1% and average FPS, but this wasn't even noticeable in-game. At 1440p, FPS does take a bit of a hit, but consistency does improve.
Check this out. If you guys want to do something a little bit different, this is
Lastly, we have The Division 2, wherein the card performed quite well in 1080p, averaging just slightly above 100 FPS, while delivering what I'd say is still a great experience in 1440p, even when at its highest preset. Of course, you can still dial down some settings to achieve better performance. The card also showcases how effective its cooling system is, as HW Monitor recorded 72 degrees Celsius as the highest temperature all throughout the tests. Do note that the fans will not spin unless it reaches a certain threshold. In conclusion, the GALAX RTX 2070 Super Work the Frames Edition is a great 1080p and 1440 card that will handle pretty much any game you'll throw at it, mostly at the highest graphics preset. Its highly customizable RGB lighting also makes it highly flexible to any aesthetics-focused build, and also offers good thermal performance. While the card is fine, Extreme Tuner could use a bit of work on its user interface to make it more simple. Ray tracing in general does deliver enhanced visuals, but at the cost of performance. So there's still that question of, are you willing to make that trade? Or do you even need it? As Nvidia and even AMD have offerings in the segment that will also give you good performance without having to shell out as much. Point is, if you want to take advantage of ray tracing, experience super smooth 1080p gaming, and a decent 1440p experience with all the bonus features, this card should be on your list. However, if you don't care about ray tracing at all, or if you don't mind less bling, and just want sheer performance, there are more affordable options available for you. Before we end this video, we'd also like to thank our friends from Hungry Geeks for letting us use some of their benchmark data for comparison. So that was our review of the GALAX RTX 2070 Super Work the Frames Edition. This is Eman from Gadget Pilipinas. If you like this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching.